What's up, good people? What's up, good people? Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Q with Quincy Avery. Trey Lance is going to be joining us in just a second. We got till 1:30, so I'm going to give you guys some background music. In the meantime, you guys can put any questions that you guys may have or you may want me to ask Trey in the chat. So I'm going to give you guys that opportunity, to be interactive. Let me know if there's anything that you would like me to ask him as we get going. And I think they're going to have a really good show. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that follow button. I'm going to give it some old school Kanye while we wait. And I think that we're going to have a fun, productive show. Let's go. Wake up, Mr. West. And we are back. Another episode of The Q with Quincy Avery. We have a special guest, Trey Lance of the San Francisco 49ers on today. Trey, what is good?
What's good? Appreciate you having me, bro.
Oh, you appreciate me having you? No, I appreciate you getting on. I know you got a busy, hectic schedule. We're not going to kill you. I did not know how many fans you had in San Francisco. I could tell
by the faithful, man. I'm telling you about the faithful, man.
You did. You told me that the San Francisco 49ers were better than any fan, whatever you guys call each other in the country. So
without a doubt.
I'm gonna take your word on that. But this show, we chill, we vibing, not too serious. But I think that a lot of people know like the Trey Lance that we see on TV, whatever. What do you think is a thing that enough people don't know about Trey? Like, what is something that you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Oh man, tough question. But honestly, I think people think that I'm always out and around, out and about. But I'm really a homebody. I mean, I know you know that from draft prep and just being around. But I really enjoy spending time at home, having my friends, teammates, family over. Not a huge go out to eat, go out for whatever. I really enjoy just kind of spending time alone or spending time with people close to me.
Yeah, you're probably one of. I mean, you're this. You're probably one of the nicest people. You're definitely the nicest quarterback that I've ever been around, and I'm around a lot of quarterbacks, so that says something. But yeah, you're in the house more than anybody else. So I think it's funny when people see something like you're out or whatever, and that is really few and far between. But I think it's interesting. You're also what 23,
22, man. 22. I'm 2000, baby.
You're a baby.
Yeah.
As we kind of move into football, when you look back at all the things that you went through in your life, right? Because I think that quarterback is a unique position because undoubtedly you're going to go through tough shit, right? And I think that right now you're in a moment where you're kind of going through something tough, injured, whatever. But what do you look back on and be like, all right, I went through this. Like, what was a defining moment for you? And we've been talking about desirable difficulties a lot, but what was that moment for you? Where like, I went through this. I know that I can make it through anything. Like anything that fucking happens, I'm good.
Yeah, honestly, just my mindset on the whole thing. Not even having to go back to a specific experience. Talking about this year going into this offseason and this season, I could go back to competing with Zed and Owen for a starting job. I guess that's the most probably comparable situation to this, but obviously it's on a whole nother scale now. But just for me, I always go back to just controlling what I can control, doing things the right way, treating people the right way, and obviously, knowing that the work comes first. Outside of that, I'm gonna do everything I can to be as ready to go this year and be ready to compete. But that's really what I fall back on. At the end of the day, I truly believe that everything happens for a reason and everything works out exactly how it's supposed to. As long as, you put in the work to earn your spot or earn that opportunity. So for me, going into this year, just competing and going through this whole entire year with my injury, obviously, like you said, man, this, as you know, this is one of the probably, if not the toughest year of my life, going through this season. And not even from a mental standpoint of, oh man, I got to go sit in these meetings like that. That's just a no brainer, that's non-negotiable. This is what I love to do. But honestly, more from the standpoint of, man, it's hard to watch guys out there, my teammates out there having fun and everything like that, especially when I had to be, up in the suite before I was walking and things like that. I just wanted to be a part of it. So I'd say that was the hardest thing. But like I said, I truly believe and fall back on controlling what I can control and just trusting in God and believing that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, the first year you came in, a little bit of a different situation than a lot of other guys who get drafted in the first round. Is like, all right, I go to a team, but I really know that I'm not supposed to be the starter. You had Jimmy there. And then last year you go into an offseason where everybody's you're going to be the starting quarterback, right? You were the starting quarterback to start the season. What is the difference in the offseason between like your rookie season, right? You also didn't know anything about what you're getting into. And then year two, like I'm going to be the starter. Like what is the difference in the offseason between those two perspectives?
Yeah, going into my first year, it was kind of draft prep. Obviously didn't play the season, so did draft prep from, the beginning of October and kind of really didn't stop throwing throughout that whole season until, the following 2nd January. So I'd say the first thing for me was just learning the offense, learn as much as I can, getting the playbook right after the draft and just trying to give myself an opportunity to compete. I think OTAs and rookie minicamp for me, my rookie year were a huge, wake up call or whatever you want to call it, just like realizing the details and how much I have to learn. So really between, we call it 40 days away between OTAs and training camp. That's all I locked in on, just getting scripts. And for me, writing stuff down and practicing, making mistakes is the best way for me to learn. So getting as many scripts as I can and, going through the same stuff this offseason, just making sure I know it as well as I can, just to give myself an opportunity to compete going into training camp. And I felt like I put myself in, as good as a position as I could. Wasn't there my rookie year, didn't start, but, gained a ton from that experience and gained a ton, watching and learning from Jimmy that whole entire year. And then now going into, I guess, fast forward past offseason, for me, first things first was about getting healthy. I had like little stuff, the finger, and just my arm was honestly just dead from throwing that whole entire time. Like, going through 2 fall camps, my last year of college, straight into draft prep. I probably threw 3 times a week for, maybe a week or 2 off in there, but 3 times a week from, October of 2020 to January 2022. So for me, it was just about taking that time off. And then when I do come back, just nailing down the little things, being as clean as I possibly can. And obviously felt like I was at a new place mentally. But this offseason, obviously after going through this season, I feel like, I'm taking that to a whole nother level and know a lot more what's going to be asked of me.
Yeah, and I don't want to like blow smoke, but I think so. Me having the opportunity to work with so many different quarterbacks, seeing like the way you prepare, and even like I was at your house. What was it, a playoff game you guys were getting ready to go to?
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, so I was at your house the night before, and then just waking up and how detailed you were when you weren't playing, like you're injured, seeing all the notes you had about the things that you wanted to work on and prepare for the offseason. I think that's what to me. That's what separates you from so many other guys that I see in the NFL is that attention to detail. You already have basically your whole offseason broken down. Like, I want to work on this, and this, and this is how we're going to do it. And having that attention to detail from somebody who's 22, I get so excited about your future, like where you're going. How do you stay in the moment? Like, because you're like almost a big picture guy. When you're thinking about all those things, how do you stay in the moment? Like, all right, this is where I'm at. I got to go lock in for today because you've had a lot of long days, even talking to you all the time when you're on the training table, getting your ankle worked on. Like, how do you stay present in that moment?
It's been hard. There's days where it is really hard, especially, like you said, being on the training table so much this year. It was hard some days to stay locked in, kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, honestly, especially knowing, after my first surgery, getting to that point where I know I'm going to have a second surgery. I'd say that was probably the hardest stretch of just from a motivation physically standpoint. My mindset is obviously I want to get as ready as I possibly can and get my body, I was full lifting, lower body squats, everything like that. I just some little stuff from a balance and running and single leg standpoint that I just couldn't get past, the little checkpoints that I couldn't get past. I knew I was got to get the second surgery. That was the hardest. But I started working with one person specifically, kind of a mental health / mental clarity coach, I guess you could call him. And that was the biggest thing for me. I also journal a lot and really got really into it. Had kind of stopped during training camp and beginning of the season. And then after the injury, kind of realized that was something that helps me a lot. Just being able to write stuff down, being able to put stuff on paper, whether it's goals for the day. But yeah, that for me, that whole process or that whole stretch, I had to write down goals for the day, goals and tasks for the day, every single day. Like whatever my goal was, I needed my physical therapist, Mike Sola, to give me a goal, give me a challenge for the week, a challenge for the day. Just let me know that I'm still progressing. For me, it was all about that. And going into this offseason is kind of the same thing. I got big picture on things I need to get better at, but, literally just came off the field right now. And for me, it's like throwing today, like just the little things I want to work on. I know I can't go out there and be like, okay, I want to fix this, 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 and this, and this. You know, it's kind of just kind of have a priority list. So today, just having that one thing that I'm focused on, that one or two things that I'm focused on, and nailing it down, recording everything I possibly can, and just kind of being obsessed with it. You know, like just the little details.
I love like actually getting to see you throw again, like seeing the videos. It makes me really, really excited about all the progress. And I'm gonna jump back a little bit. Gonna go back to like high school, college-ish. When did you realize, right? Because I think this is a unique moment for a lot of different guys. When did you realize you were talented enough like to play in the NFL? And then when did it hit you like, oh shit, I'm about to be like a first round quarterback? When do you realize those different things?
For me, I'll go back a little bit to high school. High school was all about, I wanted to play college football. And my parents were always realistic with me. They never pushed me one direction, but they just gave me every opportunity and were honestly just brutally honest with me. So I remember being in my sophomore year, middle of football season. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm sitting at the table with my parents. I really don't even know if you've heard this story. But I'm my aunt and uncle are at the house, and I'm saying, and I told them, my aunt's kind of doesn't really know a whole lot about football and recruiting. She said, "What's your goal?" And I want to play Division I football, Division I quarterback. And then she kind of looks at my mom like I just said something absolutely insane. And she's like, "Is that a realistic goal?" I almost never mind. But yeah, I took that very personally. But my parents were very brutally honest with me from that point, even before that point. I can't just say these things and not, put in the work. I can't just go to practice just like everyone else and wake up and lift weights just like everyone else and expect, different results regardless of talent, because it catches up at you in the long run. And obviously at this level, it really catches up at you. So that was first for college. Went to North Dakota State, loved it. Was there 2 years. And then spring I had just got my hip surgery in February after my second year. After my redshirt freshman year, full year started. And I'm sitting in my room, and we're trying to find teams to watch, So I was watching Oregon at the time. This is the spring where I knew we were going to go in and play them. So I was sitting in my room, I had like a little TV and a desk, and I was just watching Oregon's games from last year. Like they just played the Rose Bowl. And my roommate at the time is yelling at me like, "Yo, come here. And I'm like, "Hey, let me finish this game quick." I was almost done with the Rose Bowl. And it's like a mock draft on ESPN, and it's like the way too early. And my name is on there. I'm like, I don't know what number it is. It was like top 5. And I'm kind of like, I'm real confused at this point because COVID had just kind of started. I was still recovering from my hip surgery. I knew I had a whole nother year regardless. So for me, I wasn't even thinking about the draft. No one knew, at least I don't think anyone knew at that point that all the seasons would be canceled and everything like that. So going into that, yeah. So at that point, I had already kind of started having small conversations with agents, but no meetings or anything like that. And then as COVID progressed and we saw like the reality of the situation, which was over, 4 or 5, 6 month span of that summer and fall, I kind of came to the conclusion that this was the best opportunity, just asking as many people, whether it was you, as many quarterback guys as I knew, as many draft guys as I could get in touch with, just asking them realistically, what they would do or what they would tell their son to do in this situation. Because for me, I love North Dakota State and I love playing there. But for me, once I had those conversations, it was kind of a no-brainer. And I felt ready at that point from what I was being told. Not necessarily that I totally knew exactly what I was getting myself into, but I trusted in the people around me, and I trusted myself, and I wanted people to give me realistic answers. Like people didn't think I was ready to go, then I wanted to hear that. I didn't really want anyone. It doesn't help me or anyone else in that situation for them to tell me, try to tell me how good I am and how ready I am, and knowing that I'm not. But obviously, yeah, made a decision, and the draft process, as you know, was crazy, ups and downs. I really thought my agent really promised me that by the time we got into the green room on draft day, he would know where I'm going. And sure enough, you were in there. We get into the green room on draft day, and I look over at my agent. I'm like, "Yo, Pat, man, like,
what the fuck is up? What's going on?"
Yeah, man, like we got to hit. Like, I just want to know, man. So I'm sitting there. That was probably one of the most, stressful yet exciting days of my life. But yeah, obviously, get fast forward, hear my name called and everything like that.
That shit was wild. The funny thing about draft night, so we're in the room, and I had told Pat, like, yo, Pat, I think he's going to 49 because I had the opportunity to talk to John Lynch like 4 days before the draft. And he didn't like tell me he was there going to pick you or anything like that. But we had a long convo because my dad actually coached John Lynch when he was playing with the 49ers. I mean, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like, so way back when. So my dad coached him. So that goes on, whatever. And I'm like, and then I talked to Justin Fields' agent. He's like, yo, they already told us Justin's not going. Right. And we're in the green room. And then Zach Wilson, his phone rings. Right. And I'm looking over it. I'm like, yo, he's gone. And then so after that, I'm looking at Mac Jones. And Mac Jones' agent's like, yeah, you're not going to the 49ers. So at that point, I'm like, oh, shit. Trey's about to be a 49er because they trade all those picks. Like, we know he's going to take a quarterback. So that was super dope. And something you said earlier, those real conversations that you have with your parents, that's something that I love. Like you and your dad's relationship is something that I think a lot of people would envy if they really knew it. He's like a really supportive father, but he's fucking honest. Like he's really, really honest with you and your little brother. Like that's not good enough, right? He's like going to tell you like that's not good enough. But I think your dad being a former college athlete, like he gets to be like really, really honest. Like this is what it takes. Either you're doing it or you're not. And I don't think a lot of parents are honest with their kids in that way, right? They always think their kids are doing good enough. Your dad would tell you, like, if he doesn't think you're doing something good enough right now. I know he doesn't know the exact name. You guys can argue about it, but he's still like,
yeah, see, you were at my house for Dallas when we were watching the tape, and I went through that same cut up. Well, you know, not the whole thing, but I went through a few plays, and he's trying to, you know, coach me on shit. I'm like, man, but like little stuff for real. Like my dad will still come when my dad's in my house. He'll sit in my little film room and he'll sit there and watch tape and be like, man, you didn't carry out this fake hard enough, man. You didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like think about it. Like we're playing 11 on 10 if you don't carry out your fake. Like little stuff like that you know is a straight up effort and, you know, mentality thing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm about to let you go in a little bit. I know you got to run, but I'm gonna clear up a few things. All right. So you always Instagram story stuff, reposting when guys get jobs, XYZ. You put your finger cross emoji.
Can
you explain to people? Yeah, like Rand, good dude. I talk to him all the time, but explain to people like I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like I know what it is. Can you just tell 49ers fans like what that means to you?
Yeah, I never talked about it at all. We're trying to stay out of the media for it, but I didn't even. You know, I go on Instagram and I'll look at, you know, my teammates' stuff, the team stuff, you know, got stuff like that, stuff about that, you know, my family stuff like that. I don't spend a whole lot of time, especially over this last year. Like it's been great for me to just be off of social media. Like I'm not on Instagram on daily even. So for me, it's like I just want to support guys. Like I repost my Instagram today this whole season was probably more of a 49ers fan page than anything, you know, like just showing guys support. Ray's got a cool outfit. Aziz got a cool video. Fred, whatever it was, and then obviously the Rand stuff. So me and Rand got real close over the last. I wouldn't say super close, but we talked on the regular. And he'd bring his boys in. I would hang out with his kids in the training room. So it was always for me. It was huge. Like they were like a shining light. Like they come in and show me how many push-ups they could do and stuff like that. So just getting to know someone's family like that, I was super happy for him for the opportunity. So yeah, the fingers crossed emojis now. Like man, I'm crossing my fingers on the Tennessee Titans. But
you just show support. Like it's showing love.
Yeah, totally. Like I cross my fingers, man. I love it here. I don't ever want to be anywhere else. But yeah,
we'll send that to each other in a text message. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people know. It is probably a cultural thing. Like, we're younger. You're really young, but we're younger dudes. Like, that's just how you would talk to somebody. Little finger cross, you know what I'm saying? We locked in. I'm happy for you support.
that's probably my number one used emoji too. I didn't know. Kyle told me the next morning. I remember we walked into install meeting. And Kyle's like, "Have you seen everything? People saying you're going to the Titans and stuff." I'm like, man, what are you talking about? And he's like, I just saw it. He's like, this people talking crazy. People don't know what they're talking about. Whatever. He's like, I just thought it was funny this morning. I was like, he was actually the one that told me about it. I didn't see anything.
I think it's really cool, you and Kyle's relationship. Just how you guys talk about all the things that you do, like just your conversations. I think that's cool. There's not a lot of people who have a great relationship with their coach in the same way that you do. So I think that's not to be taken lightly.
Yeah.
So that's really special. All right. Now, next thing I want to ask you about. Okay, you mentioned your arm fatigue. I think people were seeing you say that, and I saw on Twitter like people talk about it, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea like that you had. I think that you threw the ball. Coming from your last year of college football to your rookie season, you throw the ball more than you will ever throw a football in your life, right?
No
Because
doubt.
this is the only time you do not get a break from a football season, training, draft prep right into the season. So arm fatigue, really, you're just saying like you had to throw a lot. There's a lot of NFL guys who might not throw at all until what, March, April?
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but you're just saying like your arm is just tired from lots of throws.
Yeah, it was just honestly just I don't know. If there's someone out there, a quarterback that can throw that much, I mean, it was just realistically going back, COVID, and then I started throwing in May because I was rehabbing my hip. So that was when I started getting the ball back in my hand in May. So I threw from May 2020 all the way through that year, draft prep, get drafted the next April. So at that point, I had been throwing for a year straight, and then go through that whole season until the next January. So I'd say probably, I don't know, about 20 months straight of throwing, like I said, probably a week off in there. Maybe I don't even know if I took a whole week between that whole time, but through that whole season, I threw for probably 20 months straight. Probably at least 3 times a week.
You and I had the longest draft prep. I and Jamie had the longest draft prep. Anybody ever. So I don't think anybody can compare anything to that. I'm about to let you go because I know you got rehab. I've seen Trey throw. I've seen him doing things I'm not going to tell anybody about because I don't know what you guys can and cannot say. But I'm super excited. What are you excited for the most about this upcoming season? I know it's a lot going on. We ain't going to talk about all the stuff that is going on, but what are you excited about?
I'm just excited to compete again. Honestly, that was one of the hardest things for me this year. Just not getting to compete. I never really knew that I would crave it that much. I played 3 sports in high school, like competed year round, and now getting into this. I think this is the first time that I've gone, or definitely the longest I've gone without being able to like really compete, in like on a field. I can compete in the weight room, compete in little things like that, but just limits everything. But I mean, I just be able to start running and competing and like really anything I can do. Like I feel like I need that again. I'm really excited to just be able to compete and be able to get on the field. It's going to be so much fun. Like I'm just excited to get started again, OTAs, be around the guys again, and kind of just be a part of it.
Can't wait to get you back to Atlanta, get with the guys.
No doubt.
The best group of quarterbacks out of anywhere in the country who come out and work with us down here. And I think it's a good time. We got a good group of dudes. The last thing that I need is 2 songs to play after your interview as I get, ready for next couple segments. So give me a song.
Give me like a genre. Give me a genre.
No, we can do anything. Any song. If you were on your iPod right now or your iPhone, what would you put on for the people?
Right, this morning on the way in, I listened to some Boogie, like Jungle, and then I listened to some Lil Durk. Anything.
Give me a song from Lil Durk.
I got you. Internet Sensation and Turn Myself In, a little older.
All right, I'm gonna go Internet Sensation, Lil Durk. These aren't long songs. And you said what's the other song? Internet Sensation. What else?
Turn Myself In. Yeah, Lil Durk.
Say less. We're gonna give you 2 songs off Trey Lance's playlist. I appreciate you so much, bro. I know there's so many other things you could be doing than fucking around on AMP with me, but I appreciate it. Before everybody else leaves, because Trey's leaving, make sure you hit that like button, hit that follow button, so you guys.
Go ahead, smash that like and subscribe, man. Hit that follow, man.
That's it, back. Appreciate you, Brody.
I appreciate you, bro. Have a good one. Peace.
You too. Yo, what up? We back. You're listening to The Q with Quincy Avery. We just had Trey Lance on. That is one of my favorite people going. I forgot to ask him about his Valentine because my daughter has the biggest crush on Trey Lance out of probably anybody in the country. So she asked me in the ride home, Dad, does Trey have a Valentine? So I thought that's important information that the streets need, and it is at least information that's needed in my household. All right, just for my well-being, so my daughter's not ready to fight everybody. But I want to talk about something that Trey talked about in terms of his mental makeup, right? His ability to get through really, really difficult things because he's been through them before and he doesn't have to think about it. And I think that is something that I always harp on is that. And I think the most difficult things for people to get through that I don't always see people able to respond. So the thing that I think is the most difficult thing for people to get through is going through difficult days continuously. And for me, the difficult days that I had to go through, I was homeless for a little over 1,000 days. So that's 1,000 days of consistently trying to do work, right? And not necessarily seeing the fruits of the labor that I was putting in, only with hopes that they would come true on the back end. Now, Trey's is a little bit different. He's injured. He's putting in work, and he wasn't necessarily seeing the results with his foot, and that's why he had to have a second surgery. So he was going day in and day out, putting in work, and not necessarily seeing the fruits of the labor that he put in. And that's something that I've been through, and the things that I've done in my life, and I've had to go through things over again and over again and over again, and I was not seeing the results instantly. And that's really a testament, I think, to who you are as a person and who you will become later on, right? If you can continue to put your head down and work when things don't always look bright, like when things look foggy out there and you don't know what's going on, how you're going to get your next, whatever it is, and for you to be able to battle through those things and still be successful and still be able to carry on in that way, that is somebody who you want leading, whether it's your organization, your team, your friend group, all of those things. Like, find people like that, because it's not easy, and it's trying. And I know that Trey said it was one of the most difficult years of his life, and I'm sure that it was, and I'm sure that it is, because it's hard to go through all the things that you're going through, be in the spotlight as a professional quarterback. And I'm not sure that people are always as conscious of that, because it is really, really difficult to be a starting quarterback on an NFL team, lose your job because you got hurt, and not being able to be the quarterback on your team who's doing so well, and then have to look at somebody who is doing well out there, a little bit younger than you, and you're hurt, right? You're banged up, your leg's not working the way that you need it to work, and then you just have to be a good teammate. And I think that people not Trey for the fingers crossed emoji, all those things when people on the team are doing positive things. I think that should have been something that was celebrated, not only by 49ers fans, but everybody, to be in that situation, to go through all those difficult things and still be able to support people who are doing the thing that you want to do. That's fucking hard, right? That's really some difficult shit that you have to have a high level of maturity in order to do. And then Trey has that, and he's 22 years old, and he's only going to continue to get better. And I've seen a lot of guys make big jumps in terms of their football career. I've worked with Gino, I've worked with Jalen, I work with Justin Fields, I work with Deshaun, I work with all these different guys. And I'm telling you, I'm more confident than ever that Trey Lance is going to have a special year next year. I think that people can get really, really excited if you're a 49ers fan, because I'm really excited about the future of Trey Lance, all the things that he can do, because he's a special dude with special talents. I'm going to give you a quick song, and we're going to finish up with some things in this upcoming draft. That make sure you hit that like button, hit that follow button. And we're back. Listen to the Q with Quincy Avery. Want to start talking a little bit of quarterback trade carousel stuff. But the thing that I want to talk about right now is the Green Bay Packers, and what are they going to do between Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. I saw Jordan Love this past offseason, prior to the season. I saw him a little bit the year before, but I don't really think people understand just how talented Jordan Love is. And I think that the glimpse that they had maybe 2 years ago when he got in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they did something on defense that was totally unique to things that they were doing all season or previous to that game. And I think that they had the ability to do that because they were playing against a rookie quarterback, and they felt like they had an answer to a lot of things that were going on. But they brought a lot of zero, and their answer to that was throwing a lot of fades. And I think that you can do that as an offensive staff when your goal is to, let's keep him out of trouble. Let's not throw any interceptions, X, Y, Z. And that's what they did. That's what they're playing with him. And he was successful not throwing any interceptions, but he was not able to be as successful in terms of just having a good game. But after watching him, I was more convinced than ever that the Green Bay Packers have a quarterback of the future. This is a workout with Justin Fields, Jordan Love, Deshaun Watson, Luke Willis. And the things that Jordan Love was doing really, really blew me away. And I am so confident in his ability to take over for the Green Bay Packers. And we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do in this darkness sabbatical he's taking. And I'm not sure he's taking it because he's trying to select his team XYZ. I'm just thinking that it was something that he needed to do for him. But what I am very confident of is when he decides to leave, Jordan Love is going to take over that franchise. I think he has another year left on his deal, 4th year, and then he's going to have the 5th-year team option. He's going to be in a situation where the Green Bay Packers are going to have to pay him a lot of money. And he has an agent who's been really successful in making sure the guys are able to collect that check. So I want everybody to be on the lookout for Jordan Love in this upcoming season with the Green Bay Packers. And I want everybody to be able to look back and be like, hey, Quincy told me Jordan Love was going to be phenomenal, and he was. So we got Jordan Love and Trey Lance, who I'm predicting to have really, really special years in 2023. You listen to The Q with Quincy Avery. I hope that everybody enjoyed this show as much as I enjoyed doing it. Yes, the show will be on the Quarterback Takeover channel. I just have to wait on the AMP squad to get me over the audio because these don't have audio in that same way. I mean, they don't have visual. So as soon as I get that, I'll make sure it's up. Hope that everybody enjoyed the show as much as I did. I hope you guys have a fantastic Thursday. You listen to The Q with Quincy Avery next week. I think we're going to have either Deshaun Watson or Justin Fields on. Another big show, big time guests, big time platform. Thank you for listening to The Q with Quincy Avery.